Hey, what you reading for?
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Michael here, talking books, literary, horror, classics, and contemporary. For this video, I have selected 7 chilling titles, and the commonality among them is that they are set in a very snowy environment. So, if you like books and a middle-aged man with a militant lack of self-awareness who shares his opinion on books, thank you for liking and subscribing. Your support is greatly appreciated. On this list, we have classics, hidden gems, newer releases. We have a short story and a novella. I will say that I enjoyed these books to varying degrees. Some of them from all-time favorites to some that I question how they're or why they are classics. I don't necessarily love them, but but somebody did, and I want to talk about them. And I've selected them because of their snowiness. Also, because I'm coming to you from the beautiful city of Budapest, and I love this city and want to share it with you. I was walking around the other day, and they have the Christmas lights out, and I just thought it was beautiful. And I happen to have my phone with me, so I took a short video that I want to share with you. But I'll save that for the end of the video after we talk books. So let's skip the intro sequence and dive straight in, starting off with a 5-star read that I absolutely loved, and that is Bone White by Ronald Malfi. This book I've talked about before in other videos. I talked about it in legitimate scary books. I thought there were a few scenes in this book that really scared me. And this book is set in Alaska, in a small town in Alaska, and it's about a brother who goes there to find out what happened to his brother who disappeared in Alaska. So the snow is a prominent feature in this book. It's an obstacle for the inhabitants, the few inhabitants there are, and it creates an isolated feeling, a feeling of exposure, of battling with nature, and it all works very well together. Ronald Malfi is an excellent writer. This book is very well written, and I like the characters, and I like the setting, and especially some of the action scenes are very well done. Next up, Ararat by Christopher Golden. Now, this book won the Bram Stoker Award for Best Horror Novel of the Year, so some people really liked it. I was not necessarily one of those people. This was my first Christopher Golden experience, and I guess I did not have the right expectations going into it. I was expecting something legitimately scary, a tense horror book, but it's quite goofy. It's quite silly, and I think that had I had my expectations set accordingly, I could have had a really good time with this book. But it is set in Turkey on the mountain of Ararat, where there's an avalanche that reveals a previously hidden cave, and in this documentary film crew, they suspect that maybe in that cave are the remnants of Noah's Ark. So, if that premise sounds goofy to you, then you have the right mindset to go into this book and enjoy it. What Christopher Golden does very well in this book is he really places the reader on the mountain, and the scenes where they're climbing the mountain, where there's an avalanche, and they have to negotiate that's done very well. The horror comes in from a demon possession type story, which is very difficult to do demon possession without being silly. And I think Christopher Golden puts all his chips in and goes all in on the goofiness, which was unexpected for me. But again, if I had the right mindset, I could have had a good time with this book. But it was silly, and I wasn't really in the mood for silly. But it's very snowy, and he does a very good job putting the reader in that environment. Next up, we have a classic from 1886, and that is The Inn by Guy de Maupassant, or L'Auberge. This is a short story. It's probably one of the most famous short stories from Guy de Maupassant. If you have not read The Inn, and then you do read it, the story might seem very familiar to you, because this story has inspired many other horror creators, and it has been even satirized. It has been copied, I dare say. It has been has served as a template for other horror creators. And it's very snowy. It's essentially two men. They set out in the winter to an inn that is closed for the season, and they're just going to keep watch over the inn and make sure that it's ready to be used once winter has passed. So their idea is to go to this inn and then just drink a lot of whiskey during the winter and wait for the winter to end. That's their plan, but things do not go according to plan. Maupassant does a great job placing the reader in a very snowy environment and also communicating the paranoia that comes along with that level of isolation. It's very well done, and it's a classic for a reason. Next up, we have a book that is not a horror book, but it is a thriller, and it is a really good thriller, and that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book, I normally don't resonate well with, or normally thrillers don't resonate well with me. It's not really my genre. But this book had come highly recommended to me, so I checked it out, and wow, was it excellent. Every page is just filled with tension. And the protagonist, I really liked the protagonist, so it made for a quick and enjoyable read, and unforgettable read too. It's a young college student who is traveling home, I think through Colorado, I want to say, like up a mountain or something, to get back home to visit her mother, who her relations with her mother are not that strong. And she stops off at a rest stop, and she makes a discovery at that rest stop that is quite gruesome, and also because of the snowy conditions, the roads are closed, she's not going to be able to leave that rest stop for a while. So it's very tense. And it's what I love about this book is, firstly, I love the minimalism of it. It's just one location, and I think there are 4 characters. So it could almost work as a play. In fact, I think there's a movie adaptation or a Netflix adaptation, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that there is another adaptation available. I haven't checked it out, but the book was fantastic. Great character, just great building tension, and just snow everywhere. Again, creating an isolation and just deal with the elements because you have no other choice, which is fun. Next up, a supposed hidden gem, and that is Maynard's House by Herman Rocher, or Herman Rocher. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. This book came out in 1980, and I came to it because I had been seeing it come up on various lists of hidden horror gems from the 80s, or greatest horror books of all time. I kept seeing it pop up on lists, so I figured I'd check it out, and I did. And not a horror book. Not a horror book. There is one scene with horror aesthetics, but the tone of the book and I think the intentions of the book are not horror. But it's about a young man who returns from the Vietnam War, and when he was in Vietnam, one of his not colleagues, what do you call it, fellow soldiers, said to him, "I have a house in Maine, that if something happens to me, if I die, then I want you to have the house." And then this soldier does die. So this man, he takes possession of the house in Maine. So he sets out to take possession of it. And this man is our protagonist. He is from Cincinnati. So we have, he had never been to Maine before, and he sets out to Maine in the peak of winter. So we have kind of a fish out of water scenario where and the locals are not really into foreigners or people from outsiders, I should say. So there's a little bit of resistance there. What I liked about this book is that it uses a Maine patois, or like a stylized English or dialect that apparently they speak there. I have not been to Maine. I know very little about it. But I really enjoy stylized English. I like books that you incorporate this patois, and I think it's done very well. It's not excessive. I don't think it's distracting. Maybe if you are from Maine, you don't find it accurate. I have no idea, but I enjoyed it. It helped create a more immersive atmosphere. The protagonist, he has to deal with snow, just getting there. Like the train just stops and he has to trek through the snow to actually get to the town. And the house that he takes possession of is quite outside the town and is quite isolated. So it definitely gives you this isolation experience. Now, I did not love this book, to be honest with you. I did not really understand what it was trying to say. What is the story about? I can't tell you. I will tell you that the protagonist, he develops erotic fantasies for a child. That he's a child, like she's 15 or 16. He's in his early 20s. He doesn't know what age this girl is, but he understands that she's probably of a inappropriate age. And it was kind of gross and kind of distracting, and I'm not really sure why the author made that choice, what he was trying to say about that, because it's not just a passing scene. It becomes like a focal point of the book. His interest in this child, his romantic, erotic interest, it was gross. It was gross. It was yeah, it kind of ripped me from the story, but there are things about the book that I did like. I did like the setting. I liked the immersive experience that it gave me. I liked spending time in Maine, at least this version of Maine, in the peak of winter. And I liked the locals, who were not too friendly to the outsiders, but there's a certain charm to them. What the book is about and what it's trying to say, I don't know. But I have seen it come up on many lists of hidden gems. It might be a hidden gem. It's not a horror book, though, so don't set your expectations accordingly. If you've read this book and you have a theory as to what the author was trying to accomplish with it, what he was trying to say, I'd be up for hearing that. I think it's maybe a fish out of water, maybe something to do with the Vietnam War and how the soldiers were received when they came back to the States. And I don't know. I don't know, but I'd be curious to hear your theories on it. It is a strange book. Strange. The tone is quite strange, but it does some things well. The environment and the interaction between the tension between the locals and this outsider is done well. Next up, we have a novella or a longer short story, and that is At the Mountain of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. Now, this is by far my favorite work of H.P. Lovecraft that I have read. I have not read all of them, but of the ones I've read, this is my favorite. It is about a rescue operation where they hear about the explorers who went to the Arctic to do some research, or researchers, not really explorers, and they disappeared, but they did send out a distress call, and so these rescuers, they received the distress call, and so they're going to explore and find out what happened to these researchers. And what this book does, or this story does very well, and H.P. Lovecraft does well, is it creates this kind of faux documentary style to the writing, and is done very well. Like it reads like legitimate rescuers who are documenting their expedition. It's very well done. And what they find in the Arctic, I will not reveal what it is, but that is what the story is about. And they discover something that has frightening implications. And it doesn't come out and tell you everything, because from the perspective of this rescue operation, they don't really know. They don't have a lot of insight into what it is that they are discovering. So as the reader, we experience this from their perspective, and we don't really know, but we understand the implications, or some of the implications of what they have discovered. And I think it's just extremely effective. This unknowingness, it just teases the imagination just the right amount to create chills, and it's done very well. Yeah, hands down my favorite H.P. Lovecraft story. What is yours? Let me know in the comment section below. And next up, we have a bit of campy, tropey cheese. which I quite enjoyed, and that is The House of the Wolf by Basil Cooper. This is also from the 1980s, and this is about I could how do you say it? Academician? No, I could. What do you call it? People who work in academia? An academicianist? Let's call him a university professor, and his specialty is folklore and the occult. And so he's going to Hungary, my current home country, to participate in a conference. And this is a very tropey book. Like the opening is quite reminiscent of the opening of Dracula, with this outsider who arrives also in Hungary. And the carriage ride to the castle is very reminiscent, I think intentionally so, of Dracula. And then we meet the master of the castle, and it also very reminiscent of Dracula. And we also meet the master's attractive young daughter, which creates some romantic tension, and I think it's quite effective. When our protagonist gets settled in, he is marked by the oddity, the oddness of his hosts. Something is a bit off, but I guess they're Hungarian, so obviously something is going to be a little bit off. And also there are wolves howling at night, and the locals, they seem to be on the hunt for a renegade wolf that may be responsible for some recent atrocities, but maybe it's not a wolf. Super tropey book. It does a great job describing this castle in a very gothic, kind of creepy, tropey way. And then the romantic tension between our protagonist and the host's young daughter, I think is very interesting. The book is set in Hungary, which is great, but I have the impression that the author had never been to Hungary before. Firstly, he describes Hungary as being in Eastern Europe. It's not. It's in Central Europe, so that was kind of weird. And also, there are frequent references to the protagonist enjoying a great meal, which I've lived in Hungary for 5 years, and I think that's highly unlikely. I'm joking, kind of. But it doesn't really feel like Hungary, but it's kind of nice that he made the effort, kind of. Super tropey, super snowy, and an enjoyable werewolf-ish mystery. And we will end on a book that is not a work of horror, more of a literary fiction, and that is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. This is a book set in the south of Poland, in the mountain region that's on the border of Czechia. And this is an elderly woman who is tasked with the upkeep of these vacation homes from, let's say, wealthy people from Warsaw. And one of her neighbors is killed in a mysterious fashion. So there is a little bit of a mystery and a police investigation that ensues. The book has been marketed as a mystery, and I don't think personally that the mystery aspect works all that well. It's not what appealed to me. I loved this book, but I loved it for a character study of this. Our central protagonist was an elderly woman who was a bit quirky and whom nobody listens to. She tries to share her theories with the police, but they're not interested in her. So she also, in an unsolicited fashion, gives out horoscope readings to people, which is kind of odd. This book and the writing reminded me a lot of Shirley Jackson. I'm a huge Shirley Jackson fan, so it gave me that kind of quirky yet dark vibes. And I loved this central character and the story and the ending especially. I liked the ending a lot. And I love Poland, so setting a story in Poland is probably always going to work on me. And it's a very snowy read and a very enjoyable one. So there you have it, 7 titles for snowy, wintry reads. What do you think of my selection? Are you familiar with the books or authors I talked about in this list? I always enjoy connecting with you in the comment section. Oh, and I promised you a quick glimpse of Budapest. So here we go. So I was just walking down the street the other day, and I happened to have my phone on me, which is quite an uncommon occurrence. And I was passing by the Opera House, and I just thought it was lovely, and I wanted to share it with you. So I took a quick shot of the Opera House and Andrássy Boulevard. And yeah, Budapest is a beautiful city, especially in the winter over Christmas time when they have all the lights out. It's lovely, and they do great Christmas markets here. So there you have it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.